methodology section is your next section, and it's what data do you intend to collect. Close your laptop, Harry, you don't need it. So for each type...
Good morning, everyone. This is day 13 of going all in on day trading until I get a payout and I'm profitable. So today we're going to be trading. It's a Friday, bit of a different start. I'm going to be cooking my food because I got to go back to school in 20 minutes to do an economics exam. But right now the account is sat at 50,750, so that's 750 profit. We're going to be risking 750 again today, and I'll kind of run you guys through that while I get cooking. So basically today I'm kind of in the mentality of not even giving a fuck anymore, because I know what happens when I care too much about the funded. I end up fucking it up. So the goal today is kind of to not really care as much as I have been caring about passing these accounts. The thing with caring too much about trading is that, I mean, from the book I read, The Best Loser Wins, you want to do the opposite of what 99% of people are doing, because 99% of people are unprofitable. So basically, what that means is, if majority of people care way too much about their trading, and everyone thinks, oh, I care so much about this, it's got to work, maybe the thing is you shouldn't care about kind of how you're trading, and you shouldn't be emotionally attached to the accounts. And that's something that clearly, if majority of people care too much about passing their account and making profit, clearly that's something that kind of comes naturally to us, because everyone has a fear of losing money, therefore everyone cares about making money. So I think at first it's going to kind of have to be something I condition myself into doing. And by that I mean it's going to be something that I have to constantly repeat to myself, like, bro, I literally don't care. Like, every time I catch myself going, oh, I'm about to pass the funded, I'm going to make all these profits, every time I catch myself doing that, I've got to be like, hang on, it doesn't really matter. I don't really care. Like, I'm literally going to have to trick myself into thinking I don't care until I literally do not care. Which, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I feel like I'm going to have to force the mindset to then get it naturally. So right now, I keep telling myself I don't really care, because when I do care, I end up fucking up. I end up not setting my risk properly, which is, bear in mind, the only thing you can control as a trader is setting your risk and sticking to your risk. Nothing else in the market you can control, so you might as well control the one variable you have control over. I didn't do that properly yesterday, and when it came to my risk getting hit before I really wanted it to be hit, I had to get out the trade because I'm not risking more than 750. So I'm making fuck-ups along the way. None of them are technical fuck-ups though, it's all psychological fuck-ups. My technical has been spot on, literally spot on. Not the first day I had the account. Everything was out the window the first day I had the account, last Monday. And so right now I'm going to finish making my lunch and then we'll do some pre-market analysis. Alright, so pre-market analysis before I go into school. I haven't actually looked at the charts so far, so this is going to be my first time looking at them today. On NQ, the bias is pretty bullish. I mean, we haven't inversed any of these gaps. 4 hour, again, quite bullish, even though it's trending down right now. We're inside this bullish imbalance, and we have taken out yesterday's low. On a 1 hour level, like I said, we've taken out those lows. If we look left, we've got this here. And on the 1 hour, we've inversed that gap upwards. So we've got another 2 hours, well, hour and 50 until I am going to trade. We could be bearish. It really just depends. I would want to, if I was bearish, I'd want to see this high get knocked out. And we're also in this imbalance. But ideally, I'd probably be willing to short down to here. There's not much reason to go for longs as of right now, unless we get. Yeah, I'm not seeing any opportunity for longs, to be honest. Even though we have taken out that low, we are in a 4-hour bullish imbalance, so we've reacted off there. I don't know. If we take out London lows, I mean, if we take out London lows, we'll look for longs. But right now, I'm pretty unsure. I think we're going to have to wait for more price action to play out. And then we'll just see what it presents us with at 1:50 p.m.
It's our methodology section. We'll give you a bit more guidance on this when it comes to writing yours up. But your methodology section is your next section, and it's what data do you intend to collect? Close your laptop, Harry, you don't need it. So for each hypothesis.
So that was the clip of the teacher telling me to get off the charts. And by the way, guys, if you like these videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want to be in a community of like-minded traders, join the Discord. Link in description. But coming into psychology, which is the time lapse you're watching now. Again, we've got sub, and I was in a good mindset, a patient mindset, and price was not doing what I wanted it to do, and it's never going to do what you want it to do because you don't have control over that. So it's just about bearing in mind that the market's going to do what the market wants to do, and it completely ignored my SMT. It didn't even take buy-side liquidity. Just started heading down without me. But I can't always be right. So that's something you've always got to bear in mind as a trader. Especially if you're in a position like I am, where we're wrong a lot more than most profitable traders are. You cannot always be right. So that's something I accepted. I've been right every other time this week with my analysis, but not today. So I'm happy with 4 out of 5 times. 80% accuracy on my analysis. I'll take that, bro. I'll take that. So, post-market analysis. Obviously, no trade was taken, which I'm actually fine with. At the end of the day, we've made profit on the week. Obviously, it could have been more. We'll get into that after, kind of the post-market yap. But I'm going to show you guys, give you guys a rundown of what I took. Which I guess you've already... What am I even on about? I didn't even take anything. I'm going to give you a rundown of why I didn't take anything. And yeah, let's get into it. So daily, as we discussed, bullish. 4 hour. My bias was bullish. Now, obviously, that was incredibly wrong. Actually, sorry, the 4 hour... Bro, I'm not even speaking my thoughts right now. The 4 hour was actually bearish. We got an inverse of this fair value gap. But there was no imbalance. There was no bearish imbalance here. There was no bearish sell-side liquidity taken. On the 1 hour, we were bullish because we had an inverse of this fair value gap here. Sorry, this fair value gap here. And then we took out London lows. We took them out. Boom. We had no sweep of sell side. There was nothing. So daily's bullish, 4 hours bearish, but the 1 hour is bullish. And even if it was bearish, there was no reason to take shorts for me. Because yes, we were inside this 1 hour bearish fair value gap, but we'd already reacted, filled it, reacted off it, swept these lows, come back, and fucking we never even swept buy side liquidity from London highs. Now, if we had swept London highs, potentially, if we had then had lower time frames align, we would have had a bearish trade. But because we never swept that, same for ES, we never took out that, I never took a trade for shorts. And the reason I stuck so strongly to my bullish bias up until a point was we had this 15-minute SMT from beep to beep. That's actually not right. Where the fuck was the SMT? No, that is right, buddy. Okay. We had the bearish SMT like this on the 15-minute. ES was lagging. Hang on. The fuck am I on about, bruh? Sorry. We had the 15-minute SMT with ES lagging. And then on the 5-minute, we actually never got an inverse of that gap. Now, potentially, I know it looks like it, but it was a perfect fill. We never got it on ES by literally like a millimeter of a point. We also had a bullish SMT here with, on the 5-minute, with NQ lagging. You can see here, bullish SMT, NQ lagging, but again, we never had a 5-minute 5-minute inversion of the fair value gap. Now, potentially, we could have used the 15-minute bearish SMT. You guys might be able to see that. We could have used this instead of a sweeper liquidity, and then traded off of the with NQ lagging. We could have traded off this, and then obviously boom, boom, boom. With hindsight, looks nice, but that's not how my strategy goes. We could have taken off there, off this imbalance, which didn't get inversed, actually got used. Where would we have entered if we were to go short? Well, probably here. Stops up here. TP somewhere down there. That could have been my short entry, but it wasn't because I wasn't bearish and I was still hoping the bullish play would play out. And then we started ripping down. One thing I'm happy with is that I didn't change my bias. I stuck to the bullish. Sorry. One thing I am happy with is that I was willing to change the bias, because there's no way, and this is a very important point, which I learned in the Best Loser Wins. There is no way that 9:30 opens and we get a, we'll say, 338 point move to the downside, and then all of a sudden at the end of New York AM session we're going to want to go back up. That's not going to happen. So I was willing to look for shorts, but I mean, as you can see, there was nowhere to join after there. If we had got a retrace at any point in time, literally a fair value gap retrace at any point in time, I would have been like, fuck yeah, I'm getting in this bitch. But we never got a fair value gap retrace on the 5-minute, 15-minute. We probably did on the 1-minute, but I don't really care. Matter of fact, I do not think we even got one on the 1-minute. Nope. No, we didn't even get a retrace on the 1-minute, so that is why I didn't enter, because I was confident it wasn't going to go back up, but I wasn't sure if it would start chopping about and shit like that, which is why I didn't end up going short after I missed this opportunity up here. Because you've got to understand, with hindsight, it looks like, oh yeah, just kept ripping down. But when we were at this point, I was ready for us to have just, taken out these lows again. just a secondary sweep. I was just expecting a secondary sweep, but until we got like a hard 5-minute close like this, then I was like, oh fuck. But by that time, we'd already moved a decent amount for me to be like, well, we can't just enter. Like we need a retrace. That's why I didn't enter. But ultimately, we can go in the trader rate. The account is sat at 751.48 profit, which is decent. It's not ideal, but we haven't blown up the fucking account. We've kept it for 2 weeks. We definitely could have passed it if we traded properly. I'll be doing like a full recap of the last 2 weeks this weekend, so subscribe, because that will be a super useful video and informative. But I just want to show you guys. I'm going to open up the calculator app, because this shit, here's the thing, and this is all speculating, but this is the kind of thing I think about that kind of, it does motivate me, is that we got 750 profit on the 50k. Once I scale up, I've got 5 50k accounts. We've got 2 50k. That's 5 times the amount I have now. Bro, 750 times by 5. That's how much I would have made in 2 weeks. With terrible trading, like literally insanely bad trading, I would have made, after commissions, about 3 grand in the last 2 weeks. And that's with absolutely dog shit trading. So just imagine what I can do if I make literally one tweak. Imagine what I could have done if Tradeovate didn't break on Wednesday or Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. If Tradeovate didn't break on Tuesday, you know, that would have been an extra, like, obviously that was out of my control, but if I hadn't had my stop loss too tight, that would have been an extra, like, multiple grand, which is insane. So just little things like not putting the stop loss too tight, literally that alone, it would have taken off 750 and added 1,500, like 2,250 extra profit just from not setting my stop loss too tight, which is nuts to think about and kind of motivating. Just shows even with shitty trading, it'll take a lot longer to scale to that point. But once I get to that point, bro, it's crazy. So, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, join the Discord. See you guys tomorrow.